Qu'est-ce qui se passe?
Hi guys, welcome to our channel. Today we are discussing a science fiction movie in which a family fights to survive while the streets of Paris are filled with deadly gas. In addition, their daughter has a complex disease that makes it more difficult for them to go through this terrible event. Check the title of the movie in the description. The film begins with a dream about a newborn girl in a capsule and a young girl running in a field, and Mathieu, who just wakes up from this dream, is about to land in Paris. As he leaves the airport, he calls his 12-year-old daughter, Sarah, to ask how she is and to reassure her that daddy will be there soon. After reaching his residence, Sarah calls him through a walkie-talkie, and Mathieu informs her that he will arrive soon. Mr. Belkacem, one of his neighbors, an elderly man with an oxygen tank on his back, enters the building, and Mathieu helps him with his luggage. He goes upstairs, and as soon as he gets home, he kisses his wife, Anna, who explains that she is now holding an online class. Meanwhile, Mathieu visits his daughter in another room. Sarah has a fully allergic and autoimmune disease, so she lives in a sealed capsule that filters her air. Mathieu excitedly presents his daughter with a box containing a series of bottles of natural oils from Canada. Still, since they are made in Marseille, Sarah is surprised. Mathieu motions for her to look under the bottles, and she finds an SD card, which she immediately plays on her VR set. A 3D video of the Canadian landscape that surprises her. Afterwards, Anna finishes her online class, and then Mathieu approaches her to explain that he wasn't in Marseille for an interview, but to inform her that he was traveling to Canada because of the discovery of a new treatment and the availability of a place for Sarah. Anna is hesitant to accept this. However, Mathieu assures her that it is a new study that has not yet been published. He insists that immigrating to Canada is the only thing they should do, but Anna disagrees. According to her, they were lucky enough to get Sarah out of the hospital, and now their daughter has started a new life. After Anna asks for more time, Mathieu leaves the apartment and returns to his house. Meanwhile, Sarah chats online with her friends who are experiencing the same illness as her. A girl named Charlotte and a boy named Noé, whom Sarah seems to be very emotionally attached to. While Mathieu is taking a shower, the TV shows important news. Sweden and Denmark have been hit by an unprecedented earthquake. Suddenly, a strong earthquake occurs in Paris, and with the power cut, Sarah's capsule automatically switches to battery mode. Wondering what's going on, she calls her father, who is preparing to go out, and Mathieu assures her he'll be there soon. As soon as he enters the alley, he hears a siren, sees someone running away, and worries about his family. While walking down the street, he sees a flock of birds flying madly. Moments later, a thick fog is seen that kills people by breathing it. Suddenly, a huge mass of this fog terribly covers the streets, and people start to run away like crazy. He immediately rushes home and asks Anna to get away from the window because this fog is deadly. After replacing the capsule's battery, he assures Anna that they will return for Sarah and must leave immediately. In the thick fog, they rush up the stairs, eventually arriving at the apartment next door, where an old couple named Lucien and Colette live. Soon, they realize that the fog has covered the whole city and has risen to a certain level. Mathieu covers the seams under the door with some old clothes to prevent the penetration of the fog. Meanwhile, Anna talks to Sarah, assuring them she is safe in the capsule despite the fog filling the room. When they feel relieved about Sarah, they look at the city. The fog has risen so much that only the upper floors can be seen. When Colette begins to freak out, her husband assures her their son is fine and escorts her inside. At the same time, Anna and Mathieu are left wondering where the deadly fog is coming from. Mathieu believes that there may have been an attack, and they return home. On the other hand, Sarah notices the increased fog around her in the capsule, so the entire house space is covered by fog. At the apartment, Anna checks the battery life of Sarah's capsules using her phone app, and Sarah confirms that she has 4 bars left, which looks like about 10 hours. Mathieu finds a pair of binoculars and goes to the balcony. He tries to get to the roof to use it to get a better view of the city. The fog is so pervasive. When he returns to the balcony, he finds Lucien trying to use his phone, but unfortunately, the connection is unresponsive. He is confident that his son, who lives 2 blocks away on the floor below, is safe because he believes he is brilliant. Colette is apprehensive about their son. However, Lucien explains that they must wait until the fog descends before they all return inside. Moments later, Anna asks Mathieu to fill her in on what he saw, and he says that he hasn't seen any rescue teams. Their biggest concern is the battery life of Sarah's capsule. Lucien finds an old radio, hoping they can get news about the city. But Mathieu enters the staircase to check the fog and realizes it covers the top of the stairs and is very close. He puts his hand in it and smells his fingers but doesn't feel any smell. He then goes back inside where Anna is fixing the broken radio. Mathieu announces that he needs to check on Sarah, but Anna warns him that he probably can't hold his breath for long. He thinks of Mr. Belkacem and the oxygen tank that he saw this morning at the front door of the building. Since he lives only one floor below them, he believes he can hold his breath long enough to get the oxygen tank. Mathieu decides to go to his house through the window, and after a deep breath, he breaks the window glass and enters Mr. Belkacem's house. He searches there with a flashlight, and after discovering the lifeless body of Mr. Belkacem on the ground, moments later, he finds the oxygen tank. After he wears the mask and seals the holes, Anna calls him out worriedly. Mathieu looks out the window to reassure her that she's okay. He puts the tank on his back, and a sound from outside draws his attention. It turns out that a puppy is alive in the other room. He comes across the dead body of the father's dog on the floor. He rushes out of the apartment to meet his daughter and finds Sarah visibly frightened. He puts aside some food, a flashlight and extra batteries for the walkie-talkie, then replaces the battery in the capsule. After finishing, he consoles Sarah, telling her to save on food, and before leaving, assures her that he will return soon. Before returning to the apartment, he prefers to check around a bit and he discovers dead people scattered all over the streets. He suddenly hears a whistling sound when removing some batteries from a vehicle. He rushes after it and is surprised to see a group of survivors being moved by soldiers. Everyone is wearing masks, and a soldier informs him that they are transporting people to Montmartre, because the fog has not settled over the hills yet. The soldier explains that neither the origin nor the extent of this fog is yet known to them. After giving him a mask, the soldier suggests that he come with them. Mathieu explains that he can't because of his family and asks for an extra oxygen tank, thanking the soldier for taking it. Sarah and Anna are worried about Mathieu's delay, but moments later, he returns home, and they are relieved. Mathieu shows Anna the oxygen tanks, shares his observations from outside with them and tells them they should spend the night there. Later that night, while Anna is fixing the radio, Colette asks her about her daughter. Meanwhile, Mathieu goes outside to check the fog, and since the fog level has risen a bit, he writes the time on the wall to keep track of it. When he gets back inside, he informs Anna that the fog level is rising, and they know that service won't return anytime soon and that things will probably worsen. While Mathieu falls asleep, Anna stays awake. She goes to see Sarah to replace the batteries in her capsule, and when she arrives, Sarah is asleep. The next morning, Mathieu wakes up again with the same recurring dream. Anna repairs the radio using the equipment she brought from her apartment. However, all the stations are repeatedly broadcasting an emergency call, and suddenly, an explosion is heard out of nowhere. They rush to the roof to investigate and, with binoculars, see flames in Montmartre, signaling the beginning of a riot. When they return, since Sarah's friend Charlotte's family lives in the mountains, Anna suggests they should take Sarah to the mountains, hoping that Charlotte's family will accept them. They conclude that they have to fit Sarah in an astronaut suit, and Mathieu assures them they can find these special suits in a laboratory in Paris. They decide to search outside together to find these astronaut suits. They inform Sarah of their strategy, and Mathieu informs her that he left the walkie-talkie with Mr. Lucien. Before they leave, Sarah asks them to go to her boyfriend, Noé. She convinces them to save him despite the limited oxygen and tells them his address. After they find the address, they can't enter the building because an angry dog appears and starts chasing them. They start to run away but inadvertently become separated, and Anna's cries distract Mathieu, causing him to fall into the river. At first Anna tries to hide behind the car, but the dog chases her after Anna makes an unwanted noise. Anna takes refuge in a bus, but luckily, the rope wrapped around the dog's neck gets caught in something and prevents it from attacking Anna. Seeing an opportunity to escape through the window, Anna goes to the bridge to check the river, hoping to see Mathieu. Still, there is no sign of him, and she returns to the street disappointed. Mathieu swims to the ladder and tries to get out of the water. He takes off his wet jacket and is about to put on the dry jacket of a dead body when suddenly his eyes fall on a person in an astronaut suit who has fallen inside a vehicle. Returning to the street, he finds Anna, and after making sure of each other's health, they finally reach the laboratory, where they discover the bodies and a small fire. On the other hand, Lucien and Sarah are playing together. Her parents search for the suitcase containing the astronaut suit and eventually they find it. Unfortunately, when they leave the laboratory, the flame causes a big explosion, sending them backwards and knocking them against the wall. When Mathieu wakes up, his clothes are burning, and he sees Anna extinguishing him with a fire extinguisher. Mathieu is having trouble breathing. Suddenly, it turns out that the explosion has ruptured the oxygen tube in his tank. Mathieu removes his mask, and Anna gives him some oxygen as they head upstairs to where the fog hasn't settled. They reach the top of a building with great difficulty, and Mathieu's terrible burns are revealed on his body. Anna quickly prepares supplies from a first aid kit and removes his coat to dress his wound. Suddenly, she sees a tattoo on his back and laughs. Mathieu admits that he always wanted a tattoo and got it in Barcelona. Moments later, he realizes there is not enough oxygen in the tank to last both of them, so he asks Anna to do this mission alone. Anna refuses at first because she doesn't want to leave her husband alone in this dangerous fog. Still, Mathieu convinces her by insisting on saving Sarah. Before parting, the lovers have a long kiss, and now they have to part. Mathieu follows his path on the rooftops, and Anna tries to deliver the suitcase to her daughter. As Anna's oxygen tank is about to run out, she must take off her mask and take a deep breath before entering the building. Returning to Lucien's apartment, she realizes that the explosion has destroyed the suitcase and its contents, greatly disappointing her. On the other hand, Mathieu discovers a rope and some food on top of one of the buildings, and after testing the tension, he climbs up the rope to reach the roof of the parking lot. There, he discovers the body of a police officer and a trail of his blood, as well as more bags of supplies. Further in, he discovers a makeshift camp containing weapons and an oxygen tank. He has no choice but to steal the oxygen tank, but suddenly, he is stopped by a police officer. The officer warns him that the fog is increasing alarmingly and asks him to return the tank to him. Still, Mathieu has no intention of doing so. It seems that the officer intends to kill him. However, Mathieu puts on the mask and after opening the oxygen valve, quickly moves towards him, and they fall on a vehicle and fight for survival. In this conflict, Mathieu does not allow him to reach the gun, and moments later, the fog affects the police officer and causes him to suffocate and die. Anna calls Sarah, and in this conversation, Sarah wonders if there is life after death because she believes this is not the end. Since Anna is a scientist, she rejects the idea that the mist is supernatural and believes its manifestation has an origin. The conversation is interrupted when Anna receives an alarm on her phone indicating that the capsule's battery is running low. While Mathieu wanders down the street to reach Sarah, Anna prepares to replace the capsule's battery. Lucien warns her that her idea is dangerous, but Anna believes she can hold her breath long enough to replace the batteries. During another short conversation, Sarah admits she is in love. She hesitantly expresses this because she worries about upsetting her mother. Still, Anna praises her and considers she deserves to be loved. Anna quickly takes action to save her daughter, and meanwhile, the battery of the capsule runs out, and the fog slowly enters the capsule. Anna appears, immediately replacing the battery, and restarts the capsule before leaving so the fog is fully removed.
Pourquoi t'as fait ça? Allez, vas-y, repars!
Mathieu doesn't take long to show up. Sarah is worried that her mother does not have a mask. At the same time, Mathieu reaches out to Sarah without wasting time and hears about Anna from her. He goes up the stairs with concern and realizes his wife could not save herself. After Sarah hears him moaning in pain, she calls her father on the walkie-talkie. Mathieu makes his way to the apartment and, deeply saddened by the loss of his wife, goes to the balcony to discreetly inform Sarah of this tragic event. Hours later, another earthquake shakes Paris, which is not a good sign as Mathieu checks the balcony and notices that the fog level is rising. So they can no longer stay there. He informs Lucien that he will go save Sarah, and when he returns, it is an opportunity for them all to go to a nearby hill to save themselves. Lucien refuses because he believes staying there and letting the fog end their lives is the best option. He admits that he and his wife had a wonderful life together and do not intend to continue this life apart from their son. Mathieu stares at them, leaves, and goes to Sarah, but she ignores her father. He believes it was Anna's choice and not her fault, and he tries comforting his daughter with sympathetic words. He assures Sarah that he will be back and that it is his only choice, but Sarah is angry because she is afraid that she will lose her father, just like her mother. Eventually, Mathieu leaves her with a goodbye. On the other hand, Lucien and Colette smile at each other while lying on the bed, and it can be seen that the fog slowly covers the house. Mathieu goes to the vehicle where he had previously seen a person in an astronaut suit and manages to catch it with great effort. He starts running down the street when he suddenly notices a motorcycle with the key still attached, so he decides to ride it. Just as he approaches his building, a boy appears before him, causing Mathieu to make a U-turn and crash. Moments later, when he regains consciousness, he has a serious wound on his head. However, he removes the spacesuit and tries to reach his daughter, but walking is tough for him. He tries to communicate with Sarah through the walkie-talkie, but no one is on the line, which worries him. While completely disappointed, he sees shadows from a distance that attract his attention. When he gets up from the ground, Sarah sees him and rushes to Mathieu to hug his father for the first time since the day she was born. Sarah explains that Noe has come to save her and happily informs him that the fog won't affect them. In his joy, Mathieu briefly removes his mask to kiss Sarah and hug her again. Like his previous dreams, Mathieu, this time, sees clearly Sarah running in a broad field with Noe and her other friends. When he wakes up, it shows that time has passed and everything has changed. Now, Sarah is taking care of him outside the home and communicating with him by walkie-talkie. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel.